starting a new chapter, Chapter 8, Lesson 1, Angle Relationships. The vertex is the point where two rays meet. So in this example right here, your vertex is right here. All the rays are meeting right there. Two angles are vertical if they are opposite angles formed by the intersection of two lines. Vertical angles are congruent or have the same measure. Okay, so we're going to stop there and talk about vertical angles. Vertical angles would have the same measure because they are congruent, and they're always opposite of each other. Okay, so those are vertical angles. We have angle 2 and angle 4 are vertical angles. Angle 2 and 4, they're opposite of each other. Same measurement, and they share the vertex. Another vertical would be angle 1 and 3 are vertical angles. Okay, they are opposite of each other. Two angles are adjacent if they share a common vertex, a common side, and do not overlap. So the adjacent, they have to share a common side. Common vertex, common side. So we would have angle 1 and angle 2. They share a side, they do not overlap, and they would be adjacent angles. So let's write down some adjacent angles. So 1 and 2, angle 1, angle 2 are adjacent. Angle 2 and 3 are adjacent. Then 3 and 4 are adjacent. And then 4 and 1 are adjacent. Okay? They have to share a common vertex, a common side, and they cannot overlap. First example, name each angle in 4 ways and then classify the angle as an acute, a right, obtuse, or straight. So let's name the angles first. There's 4 ways I can name this angle. Please pay very close attention to the way we're naming angles because this will be important on your homework. This angle can be named in 4 different ways. I can look at the number, and this angle is number 1, angle 1. There's your 1. I can name it by just the letter N, angle N. But most importantly, that you need to realize, and for your homework, is you need to be able to list them by all of their letters. Angle MNP, MNP, and angle PNM. If someone were to name those angles, I would have no doubt what they were talking about. But now we're going to classify this angle. Remember, acute angles, when things are small, they're acute. So small angles that are less than 90 degrees are called acute angles. Right angles measure exactly 90 degrees. And usually you would see this little square in there that lets you know that it's 90 degrees. Okay, that's a right angle. Obtuse angle. Obtuse is really a large angle. It has to be more than 90 degrees. When things are large, we call them obese. So obese and obtuse kind of go together. So if you're getting acute and obtuse mixed up, remember acute, for small things are cute, small angles are cute, and huge obese angles are obtuse. Then you have your straight angle, which would be a straight line. Remember, straight lines measure 180 degrees. Example number 2. Oh, we didn't classify it. I'm sorry, we talked about it, but we didn't classify it. Okay, so this angle is greater than 90 degrees. It's not 90, it's not smaller than 90, and it's not straight. So it would be classified as obtuse. Example number 2. Write and solve an equation to determine the value of x in the figure. So we've been practicing writing and solving two-step equations, so now we're going to use that skill. And I know since this angle and this angle, I'm going to label them 1 and 2 are vertical angles. Remember, vertical angles are opposite angles formed by the intersection of two lines. They are congruent, they have the same measure. So if we know these are vertical angles, we know they're congruent, which means they measure the same. So I can write 2x plus 4, that's this angle, equals 100. Our first step is to subtract 4 from both sides. Leaves you with 2x equals 96. The next step was to get it away from the variable, so I need to divide. X equals 48. Okay, let's look at these other angles. Let's label them A and B. What do I know about A and B? Those are also vertical angles. So they're going to measure the same. Can I tell what their measurement is? I can. Because if we know this is a straight line, I know this angle is going to measure 180 degrees. So if this angle's 100, and I know from here to here is 180, I need to take 180, subtract 100, and you're going to get 80 degrees. And we know x is 48. X is not the measure of this angle. To find the measurement of the angle, you have to put 48 into the x. Okay, but it just asks to solve for x. But we know the measurement's got to equal 100. So this side's got to equal 100. Adjacent angles would be angle 1 and angle A. Those are adjacent. They share a same side. Okay, let's look at your homework. Name 2 angles that are vertical. Okay, vertical angles. You have angle MPN and angle MPO. These are degrees. These cannot be listed as names of the angles. Cannot be listed as names of the angles. These are not names. Of angles. Okay, those are degrees. They're a degrees. It's a measurement, not the name. Okay, so 2 angles that are vertical. Whoop, I don't want to do it in yellow. I have M, P, and N. And angle, what's vertical to this purple angle? I could label this one as just angle P down here, but we need to label them using all three letters. Angle L, P, and O. And then you have two other vertical angles. That's one set. And list the next set by using all three letters. Number 2, name two angles that are adjacent. Remember, adjacent shares the same vertex, same side, common side. They do not overlap. So an adjacent angle would be LPM and angle LPM, and this has to be the adjacent angle right here. So angle MPN are adjacent. Now you list the next one. Angle, these two that are more, there's 4 adjacent angles there. You can list 2 more, or 1 more. Determine the value of x. Okay, well, if we know that vertical angles measure the same, these two equal. So 5x equals 85. You must solve for x. This angle measures this angle. They are vertical angles. So solve for x. Determine the value of y. So the same thing. Vertical angles is 5y equals 95. Solve for x. Solve for y. Okay, I want you to do 6 and 9. And there's one class that's doing some different ones. Okay, so name each angle in 4 ways. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to classify it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then classify it. So I can call this angle 2, angle y, and list 2 more ways, and then classify it. Here I can do angle MPJ, angle JPM, and list 2 more ways, and classify it. Okay, so just for fun over here, let's see. No, we'll do this one. 1, 2, 3, 4 would be angle HFG, angle 3, angle F, and one other way to classify it. One other to name it and then classify it. And this is going to be an acute angle. Number 10, your classification will be a right angle. And then you need to 1, 2, 3, label, name some of the ways we can call this angle. It can be angle EDF. It can be angle D, angle 6, and you list the last one. Okay, number 11, 2 acute angles. Acute means small. I see a small one less than 90 degrees right there, so angle D, C, and H. And then two straight lines, A, B, and D. And then list another one. Two right angles. There's my right angle sign right there. So angle G, B, and D. But there's another one too. And two obtuse angles. This one was kind of harder for you guys to find. Obtuse angles. I see a big one right there. Okay. Let's turn it over. Number 2. The runways at a local airport are sketched in the figure. Classify angles 1 and 2. So we're just classifying angle 1, classifying angle 2. Okay. What type of angle would be number 1? What would be number 2? Angle 1, I would write, looks like a pretty big angle, more than 90 degrees. That would be obtuse. Number 2, angle 2, looks really small, less than 90 degrees. So that would be acute. Number 4, the time shown on the clock is 12:07. After 20 minutes have passed, will the angle formed by the hour or the minute hand be acute, obtuse, right, or straight? So, after 20 minutes. So, that's 07. Then it would be should be about right there, I would think. So what would this angle be? So classify it as what the angle as what? Number 6. The plans for a new aquarium call for 2 hallways. Exhibits leading out of the circular main room is shown. What is the value of X? So again, I'm looking for X. And I know that this angle equals 180 degrees. So I know that 5x plus 65 equals 180. It's a two-step equation. We just got through working with those. If you have any questions or if I made a mistake, please ask them or comment on Google Classroom. Thank you.